Ya Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So just a quick recap of what I've been talking about. Today we'll read, it's going to be like a lecture, more than like an Arabic session. And there are Arabic you should try to read. So I will just read through my notes that I was preparing for my own exam. Take notes. It's just a part of it. So the chapter Kitab Nikah, and in one lesson, we've covered these 20 questions. If you can all see, I'll zoom in. Yeah. So these are my notes of my notes. So I take my notes in another software and then I kind of summarize this. So Kitab Nikah is like, what is the main topic of Nikah? Definitions of Nikah. What is the contract of marriage? What does a contract entail? What does marriage resemble? How does marriage resemble a sales contract? Okay? What is the exchange? What is the exchange in a nikah contract? What are the rules of nafaka, meaning maintenance? Okay, maintenance that husband provides to women. Um, so we're really doing deep Islamic studies on fiqh. So you can see it's just 2 hour lecture in a day, and this covers 20 questions in deep. And these questions I made out of the lecture. It's not that Sheikh gave us these questions. Does a husband pay nafaka when he's unavailable, but the wife is available? What are the intimacy rights for spouses, which will come actually at the beginning of the session? And who has the rights for intimacy? Support by Arabic reading, Raddul Muhtar by Imam Ibn Abidin. Do women have any right? What happens if the man becomes impotent or castrated after consummation of marriage? Women must be given intimacy as required by her. So we'll see if we can cover all these. Does Quran balance our women's right? Difference on Hanafi, Shafi on tamkeen, availability of the wife. What are the things jurists differ on intimacy to wife? Shafi's view on intimacy, Kitab al-Hawi, Fiqh al-Kabir, so there's a Shafi book. Hanafi's view by Imam al-Kasani, Sheikh Akum loves this book, Badai Sanai. Can women divorce due to lack of intimacy? What are the rights of intimacy? Ibn Qayyim. So you see the first definition revolves, probably most of it is about intimacy. So we'll see. So there's nothing to be shy of. Our shuyukhs discuss this with men and women in the class. So I will do the same, hopefully. Forgive me if there's any shortcomings. So this is directly from the slide. The definition of nikah is what? Linguistic and technical, 2 meanings. We can divide it 2 meanings. Linguistic, what the literal translation, to join or combine. Okay, pay attention, everybody. Atika, if you're there, I hope you're listening. So the definition of, we'll see the Arabic definition of nikah is linguistic and technical, to join or combine 2 people. Technical definition, meaning, what does it mean in Arabic? Literal translation means to join, but what does it mean actually by that is the physical intimacy, the sexual intercourse, right? And the marriage contract. The technical meaning has 2 parts of it. It's allowing to non-mahram people to come together physically with the witness of Allah, and there is a contract, okay? And the contract entails mahar and other things, okay? Is that clear? Just and this is from the fiqh books. Although this is in English, it's like a slide. It's not somebody who's our shuyukh just thought about it. It is from the definitions from the fiqh book called Al-Mukhtar Al-Ikhtiyar li Ta'lil al-Mukhtar by Imam al-Mawsuli. This is the book we've been covering, the Imam al-Mawsuli. This is one of the primer books, one of the main books of Hanafi fiqh, okay, that you study, and these are taken from there. And there are some explanation of this ruling of nikah. Who should marry? Look at this. This is very careful. Young men and women comes here. Who should marry? It's fard on somebody who is going to be sure to fall in zina, unless one marries if one possesses the dowry and provision. So the man has to have the means to pay a dowry, the mahar, and the nafaka, meaning the maintenance of the wife. Okay, is 2 points. Farhat, 2 very important points. You must ensure the mahar, that whatever you demand, and ensure the man can provide you a basic nafaka. Nafaka, the maintenance should be the way you have lived in your parents' house. Not only you can claim that. If he can't, it's remember fiqh is not marriage counseling. Fiqh is before you guys decide to break apart, you go for a divorce. Fiqh is saying no, this is what men should do, this is what women should do. Fiqh is trying to keep people together. But now our wives will come to an understanding. Look, I am a daddy's girl. I have 5 servants. My husband can provide only one. That's out of love, and marriage allows that. You should do it. You should always look at the rahmah. But fiqh says that this is the obligation on the man, and man says, "I'm sorry, I want to do it, but I cannot do it. Will you still accept me?" And the woman says, "Yes, with love, I accept you, no problem." And the woman says, "No, I'm not going to accept it because I will struggle to live with you." Do you see how fiqh is very realistic? Fiqh is very realistic. It's not emotional. Understand this. And because it is realistic, it focuses on how two people can live together rather than nowadays, most of the marriages are very emotional. So people end up marrying somebody out of emotion. Even though that guy has money, there's still problem in divorce. So many marriages in Muslim country end up in divorce, right? Because people don't know.
Yes.
People heard the same thing from their parents. They don't know these are in the books, or they heard something wrong, or they heard what society says. Okay, so the book says the man should marry if he is man or woman is falling into zina, then it is fard, providing the man has the means to pay a mahar and provision. And how much is the mahar? It's up to the girl and the man to negotiate, but he has to pay. It's wajib. It's fear of falling into zina. It's and the rest of the mahar and provision.
So can they both negotiate the mahar?
Yeah. Both. It's up to the men and women. But
because normally in subcontinent they don't allow the girl to meet the person he's going to marry.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the thing is now, but the opposite is also true, Atika. But the girls also hike so much just to show her friends and family, right? That also happens, and especially Aisha knows in Chittagonian family, there it's like a massive show, right?
Yeah.
So
and the mahar is not decided between the man and women. It's decided between the parents and the parents, or the mama khala.
Exactly.
Mama khala.
Yes. Yeah. True. Very true. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
But you see,
and mostly in this part of the here in Pakistan, mostly just to facilitate the groom, it's normally it's done as a minimum amount, maybe equivalent to $10-50. Just to make him easy.
I see.
No, then in Afghanistan it's different. They go up to the highest possible that the person can give, the highest possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's opposite there, but Alhamdulillah, still, I think maybe there are some families.
Yeah, I mean, you can demand an amount, but then again, when the girl is pious, she has read some Islamic books, not just attended some emotional talks. She has read something.
Oh, it doesn't matter because it's not up to the girl. It's not up to the girl, even up to her mother, who is which are aware. It's truly depends on the groom and his family if they allow it. Because see, mine was the most, and the minimum amount in our family was, and I think it was maybe equivalent to $60 just to facilitate the groom. So all of our were very well read, but it was not upon us. So it mostly depends upon the family of groom. They decide.
Yeah, so where is this family involvement coming from?
True.
The wali, there is a need for wali in Hanafi fiqh. There isn't all the time, to be honest, by stipulation. But I have to recall my wali notes. But the fact is, the wali doesn't need to involve in the amount of mahar, because then he will say clearly the wali doesn't. So the groom.
I will agree with Farhad. It's more of a cultural thing instead of Islam.
It is.
Yeah.
In Saudi, it's the opposite. The women hikes the mahar so much the men are not being able to marry.
Yeah,
right, Aisha? Yeah, exactly. That's why those men are falling into zina. They're coming to the Western countries, and the girls are staying.
I think in Oman it's also the same, because before marrying, the boy needs to purchase a home first. He needs to furnish it, and I think both are extremes.
The ultimate, the thing, the pillar of marriage that ties down, although the fiqh says this, ultimately the Quran says muwadda and rahma, friendship and love. That's ultimately the bonding. That's what Maliki fiqh focuses on. We'll see how much we can cover.
And needs patience.
Yeah, I'd like to really do the chapter of nikah properly, but today I just wanted to give you an overview because I've been making notes and I thought this is important.
Okay.
Because it will open up a lot of questions, and this is our sheikh couldn't finish it in 6 weeks. Girls bombarded her with questions. So this is I'm trying to just do the opening of this fard. And so sunnah, coming back, the ruling of nikah, sunnah muakkada is somebody has the ability to be intimate physically, have the ability to pay mahar and nafaka, and no fear of zina. Okay, so that's sunnah muakkada. It's like a strong obligation. Mubah is no fear of zina or oppression, but no intention. Okay, so somebody's relaxing, you know, that's for him or her, it's mubah. Makruh is somebody who's going to oppress somebody, his spouse. Usually, when a man or woman face any kind of bad marriage between their parents, or they have seen abuse in their parents, most likely, a lot of the time, not most likely, I say a lot of the time, men and women reciprocates that. They cannot break out of the cycle. It happens. So if you've seen a loveless marriage between your parents, a lot of the time, your marriage becomes loveless as well. So in that way, you should, or of men has addiction of pornography, addiction of smoking, alcoholism, and say, okay, get him married and he'll be fine. You should fix yourself before marriage, you know. Otherwise, the stipulation in is that it's makruh, you shouldn't. And haram is again that somebody is for sure he's going to oppress the spouse. Okay, so all of these 6 categories are you can relate to everyday life. Really, these are taken from life and then made it like a rule from hadith and Quran and the way Fuqaha is deriving it. Okay, I'm not going to the sources from here because it'll be just one class just to explain all the hadith. So any questions on the rulings like
no.
Married? Okay, so we've got fard, wajib, sunnah muakkada, mubah, makruh, haram. So up to here, sunnah muakkada, the main thing is the man has to be the main thing that is common in all 3. The man has to be able to pay a dowry and nafaka, maintenance. Okay, and the woman earns. If the woman he doesn't have to give it to the husband, as I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's clearly haram what people do here. Like they do too much dowry, and then the man can pay, and then they say that they will pay it after the wedding. So that's totally haram.
It is haram. It is haram. And it is haram if the man says, okay, I'm going to pay you 50% now, and after a week I'm paying you 50%. Only after that the man can be intimate with the wife. Before that, it is not allowed. The woman can divorce in any school if the man hasn't paid the mahar, and he's not allowed to consummate the marriage. So women has the right. Otherwise, women don't have the right to divorce in Hanafi fiqh. So we'll see all of that. So what is the offer of nikah? How do you say, you know, the girl cries and kubul, right? That's exactly what it is in the fiqh way. Right, so it says it has to be in past tense. Past tense in Arabic meaning something that has that has definitely happened. Okay, zawajtuk, I marry you. Okay, wa qawlu akhar tajawwajtu. Okay, the other saying tajawwajtu, I married. Aw qabiltu. Okay, qabiltu, I accepted. And if it's done in present tense, it is still, but it's better to have it in past tense. Okay, so or if it's an amr, zawijni, and the other person says zawajtuku, that marry me, and she said I married you, or he said I married you. That's also still accepted. Okay, so concluded offer and acceptance. It is the idea is based on somebody offered and somebody accepted. You know, like all these funny videos you see, the guy is on his knee and offers the girl, will you marry me? That's exactly, but in Islam we don't have that. We just marry the girl straight away, right? That's better.
Okay.
We should. Ana atajawwaztu. Okay, so same thing. It's talking about the past tense. Qad fa'altu. If the girl has to reply, qad fa'altu, or the man has to reply, qad fa'altu. Okay, I think it's men mainly proposing. Interrogation, no. Atujawwizni, that are you going to marry me? Faqala al-akhar zawwajtu. Not concluded unless one intends confirmation of an actual offer. Okay, so here you cannot ask somebody in a way that will you marry me, and the girl says I married you. That's not going to happen. The man has to say marry me, or the girl. Probably I'm thinking it's the man will offer. It has to be either past tense, it has to be either an amr. It cannot be a question. Okay, even though the question, so that's why I think in the subcontinent the qadi comes to the girl's side and said, son of this and this and this is offering you to marry. What it means is marry me. The amr. What it means, the marry. Okay, and the girl says, okay. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, moving on. So the main discussion is definition of nikah, integrals of nikah, conditions of nikah. So what is the definition in Arabic? Imam al-Quduri, the famous Imam al-Quduri. So Farhat reads the little line here. Bismillah.
Aqd yafidu
ownership or authority. Yufidu
milk?
No, milk.
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 Milk al
where is it? Milk al then mut'a.
Mut'a qasdan.
Yeah. So this is very fiqhy language, very short. So again, first of all, this means you can see it is a contract that entitled to physical pleasure, mut'a, and this is the primary purpose of nikah. The qasdan, this one word means this much. Okay, so you see how difficult it is to translate Arabic. So this is from Al-Lubab fi Sharh al-Kitab, Sharh Muqtasar al-Quduri. Imam al-Quduri, more than 1,000-year-old book, the main Hanafi, one of the biggest Hanafi books, Imam al-Quduri and Imam al-Mawsili, the one we are reading. These are the two books. I've read this with Sheikh Akram, the Quduri, Imam Quduri's book. So the definition says it's a contract. Basically, do you see, there's nothing emotional here. It's a contract that allows you to be intimate with a non-mahram partner. That's simple as the definition of nikah. Okay, so that means this is the foundation. This has to be met in a marriage. That's and we'll see why. Okay?
So does this mean that this is the intention with which the parties should enter the contract with?
Exactly, a very good point. Okay. This can be your soul, and Quran says that litaskuna, something that Allah made in pairs, so you live in harmony with each other. But the harmony comes in the fiqh. The fiqh will say, okay, how does the harmony comes? What does it mean by Quran? The fiqh deciphers it, taken from hadith and all that. Then I asked the question in the class, the Prophet also married older women. There is no way he can have physical intimacy. He knew that it is probably not going to be possible. So what are the intention of marriage then? He said that even if it's not possible, it is by definition of nikah, it is allowed. So even if you knew it's not going to be possible, you can still marry because you can still be intimate in other ways, physically, to an older.
So the intention has to be there. Is that what
intention has to be there. Intention has to be there because if you see over here that you should marry because you're going to fall into zina. It's not that you should marry because you're going to be so lonely because your parents migrated to some other country, right? You see, again, falling into zina. Again, the wajib and fard is falling into zina. So if you can hold the urge for physical intimacy, then you fall into the category of muakkada. But the other three
are... but like you said, this does seem to contradict sunnah, right? Because the Prophet, peace be upon him...
No, because Prophet had younger wives too. And Prophet's marriage.
No, from the point of view of the female, for example, I think one of his wives was really old, right?
Yeah.
So I think for women, the primary purpose could also be to have a safety net.
Yeah, of course. We'll come to that. Security.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
And children sometimes.
Understand that the point of nafaka provision is part of that.
Yeah, it's for men.
For men to provide. So women can marry with the intention of having safety, but also she should know that men will want the physical pleasure out of it as well. That's very clear in fiqh. Obviously, mashallah, many of the girls had a lot of problem with this definition, but the fact is the Imam Quduri was more pious than any one of us, and he had wives. He had no problem writing it, and his wife didn't leave him after writing this. So this is coming from very pious people. Understand that, okay?
No, I don't think it's problematic. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, why they were problematic? Why they had their
because you ladies are much more clever and intelligent. That's what I say. Really, I'm proud of you.
Okay.
And it needs, at the end, me and the married ones, we realized, even Sheikh, we come to a conclusion that people who are not married, they'll never understand this.
Maybe.
Alhamdulillah, but Farhat is one of the most intelligent in our team, so it's Allah bless you. So again, elaborating the definition, aqd means, so now we're breaking down each word. Okay, so aqd means a contract is what the two parties bind, okay, and undertake to do with reference to a particular matter. What is the particular matter? Exchange of mahar for physical intimacy. It is composed of the combination of offer and acceptance. So the two parties say, and one party say, I want to marry you, and she says, or he says yes. Okay, and it's from Majalla, is Ottoman. Majalla is a famous Ottoman time fiqh compendium. Different scholars have put all the Hanafi fiqh in for, and it's Majalla is like 200 years old, so it's one of the latest ones, and it's from the Ottoman time. Ifidu al-milk. What does Ifidu al-milk means? Milk is often translated as ownership, right? But you don't own the girl's body. It's like you have authority to be intimate. With Allah's permission, you have, with the witness, you now have the authority to be intimate with a non-mahram woman, and vice versa. In this context, it is not to be understood literally, but it is ikhtisas. It is a terminology, ikhtisas, okay?
Yeah.
And it's mut'a. What is mut'a? Huwa ikhtisas zawj bi manafi bi da'ha wa sa'ir al-a'daha al-istima'a. This is from Bada'i as-Sana'i, meaning that this is specifying that the zawj, the man, has full or partial access to the woman's body. Full or partial access to the women's body. Okay. Badai as-Sana'i, Imam al-Kasani, famous Hanafi fiqh book, a pillar of Hanafi fiqh book. Okay. Kharaja ma ifidu al-hil dammanuha kashara'i al-amma li tasri. This is dar al-muhtar, meaning that this qasdan, meaning this is the key, or this is the sole purpose of coming to an aqd, is exchange of mahar for intimacy. Okay, so intimacy is the sole purpose of the definition of nikah. Otherwise, nobody needs nikah. Anybody can go pay a man or a woman and be intimate. Okay, so the nikah basically gives you halal rights, because then nikah comes with condition. I'm going to enjoy this spouse's physical pleasure, then I have to pay her nafaka, I have to pay her mahar, and my children gets lineage out of it. But outside this, nobody, the lineage is not recognized. Okay, Darul Muhtar is a Ottoman time book by Ibn Abidin. Okay, he was called the big Imam. I forgot his title. I wrote it. It's he was called the Mufti al-Am or something. So everybody would come to him for a fatwa. So Darul Muhtar is one of his books. Okay, so look how many books we've covered this for definition. Darul Muhtar, Badai Sanai, Majalla. One line has 3 different sources, and then going back, number 4 sources. So you've literally accessed 4 big Hanafi books in one line. That's your evidence. Understand this. When somebody says this and this and this, you must ask them, where did you get it? You've learned the definition from 4 different Hanafi books in the Arabic. Okay, so does nikah resemble? So moving on, does nikah resemble too much of sales? Okay, Sheikh just asked it. So Sheikh asked us the question. Sale is a offer and acceptance. I have a mobile phone. You have £200. Will you buy my phone? He or she says yes. So is nikah like that? Okay, so I'm just copying my. So nikah is so sale is a contract is the mother of all contracts. Sales contract is like the mother of all contracts, meaning it goes for offer and acceptance type of situation in marriage. The man says, I want to marry you. The woman says yes. Okay. Acceptance, ijab and qabul. The word is what? Ijab and qabul. Ijab and qabul. Exchange of transfer of ownership, meaning authority. You get the authority to access the private parts of the spouse. So marriage contract is an exchange between two people. The exchange here is both parties enjoy each other, and this means that the husband gets exclusive right over the woman's body, and husband pays a mahar. Okay, very important. Husband pays a mahar and nafaka. Okay, the woman will need husband's permission to go out. Okay, it may sound controversial, but it's not. The woman needs husband's permission to go out, meaning, actually, I'll say to be unavailable, so that the physical availability, tamkeen, is maintained. So the right to physical relation, the right for tamkeen, the availability, dowry and nafaka, these are the three main things that has to be maintained as the fiqh pillar of marriage. If the man has not paid dowry, the female can refuse herself to be physically available. This is clear, okay? As Aisha was saying, right?
And if the man has paid dowry but not the nafaka, can she still refuse?
Yeah. Okay, so in Hanafi fiqh, to give a short answer, in Hanafi fiqh, no. If the man has paid dowry, because nafaka is not a core contract, but mahar is a core contract, core of the contract. So if the man doesn't pay nafaka, then you have the right to complain to Qadi, and Qadi will reprimand. We don't have a Qadi, so what do? You go to the local authority, Imam, Mufti, and he basically enforces.
Okay, basically get someone to intervene.
Yeah, to intervene. But for the dowry,
so who will decide that what is the minimum amount of nafaka, as it's the meaning day-to-day routine of life and that expenditure?
True, we will come to that if we get time. But in short, the answer is all the jurists took it. The jurist consensus is that the Quran says treat the woman bil ma'ruf. Bil ma'ruf has a longer meaning. It means that treat the woman whatever is customarily and comfortable for her. So if you remember, Fatima radiallahu anha wanted a slave girl from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once she got married, because she was used to that. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I don't have the means, or your husband don't have the means, just say these du'as. So if the woman is used to a certain level of lifestyle with the parents, the husband is supposed to fulfill that. And if they cannot, obviously you come to a loving understanding, because marriage is about rahma, muadda. You don't enforce it on the husband. For the mahar, you can enforce it. But nafaka, if he doesn't give you anything, of course you should go to the authority, get parents involved and other people. And if it's a Muslim country, you go to the qadi. Okay. So what is nafaka? It's between two of you, but the jurist consensus is that how the woman was before, she should be given similar, if not more. So I asked the question, if the woman is used to going on 4 holidays a year in Greece, what do they do? So Sheikh said, this is between the husband and wife, to be honest, the nafaka amount. Okay, so nowadays life is very expensive. Men and women don't have; they both have to work sometimes to have basic life. So how is the husband going to give any more? Because then the husband will be always outside. Ultimately, the husband, you'll never see the husband. He will always be away from home, right? So, this is also from myself, me and Mubashira. When I decided to quit full-time corporate career, because I want to stay home, give my children, Mubashira, as much time while I can earn from home. And it's a big struggle. But the time you miss with the family, you have to take this cut, So I'm talking from the more like the softer side of marriage. But what fiqh says, the man has to provide the nafaka. Okay. If the man has it and the man is sending all the money to his parents just to buy them expensive gifts, not like the parents are dying, they don't have money to rent, that's different. If the parents, they're just trying to impress the parents, then you have the right to cut down, say, no, I'm missing out a lot. And you're sending them extra mobile phones they don't need. Okay, there's a lecture on this by Ustad Numan as well, like 10-minute short clip. Okay, so could one marry older women where muta is? So I've asked that question. And Sheikh replied, the Prophet Muhammad married older women, sometimes not the intention with muta, but it is allowed and still part of the definition. Okay. So what happens if you don't have the definition of muta? If you don't have the definition of muta, then the problem is no older women will get a husband. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why the intention has.
How?
Because.
So is it mandatory to have that intention?
You have to have it as part of.
I mean, if it is kind of haram, if anyone doesn't have that intention.
No, it's not haram. No, it's not haram. The intention is part of it. So if the woman is post menopausal and the woman says that I may not be physically very engaging, and the man says that the man says that that's okay, but I can still have some intimacy from you, and the woman says that's fine. As long as the woman knows the man will need intimacy, as long as the woman knows the man is married.
So these should be decided beforehand.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. Now, when can you talk to a non-mahram woman at this level? Is only because they have some basic idea of marriage from the books, from the nikah. You know, otherwise. Do you get it? Otherwise, if you talk about these things, the woman won't say, "Astaghfirullah, this guy is an animal. He's already, he's already." But this is.
See, these are all nature instincts, and
exactly.
to saying these things that astaghfirullah haram. This is absurd. This is embedded. Like the software is embedded in computer. These things are embedded.
Yeah. And Atika, but coming to your point, that it's a very good point. That's why you see Muslim marriages are breaking, young and old, and there's so many Muslim counselors are needed nowadays. But our counseling are in these books. If your husband knows the basic definition, the woman knows, they say, okay, look, I am over 50 now. Whatever intimacy you can get out of me, I have no problem. But you are knowing that I'm over 50 or 60-year-old woman. Understand it? As long as it's clear between.
It can also be the other way around. It's not necessary.
Yeah, of course. The other way around as well, as Sadia passed, we're missing her in the class. I read about it. Women's rights have got, but women's rights are not explicitly mentioned all the time in hadith, because the man can divorce the woman. Women cannot divorce the husband. In Hanafi fiqh, in the Maliki, they can for intimacy reasons. I'll come to that if I can today. But is everybody learning, and is the topic engaging enough?
Yeah.
Useful enough?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so relation dower, nafaka. So okay, so now coming to nafaka. Actually, let me read from here. So if the husband is not baligh, which is very unusual back in those days, used to be the case. The husband is not even in his puberty, right? And the wife is baligha, right? The wife gets nafaka. You know why? So the husband cannot be intimate with the wife. He's not man enough now. But the woman, by definition, is available. The tamkeen, the definition is the woman has to be physically available. As long as the woman is available, the husband has to give nafaka. He cannot engage in intimacy. That's why it is the man's problem. It's not the woman's problem. You see, that's why women's right is uplifted here very well. The woman still gets it. But if wife is not baligha, sorry, my notes are done on a rush, then no nafaka, because the woman is not physically not available. So it's the physical availability, the tamkeen, is actually the center of fiqh in the definition of nikah. So if the woman has not reached her menstruation, she doesn't get nafaka. But if the woman is post menstruation and the man has not reached puberty, the woman still gets nafaka. Okay. If she goes to Hajj or imprisoned or kidnapped, the Arabic was, where is the Arabic gone? Okay. If she goes to Hajj or kidnapped, she is no longer available. Therefore she doesn't get nafaka. Sounds a bit harsh, but Sheikh said a good husband should pay nafaka, but the faqih stayed within the legal boundary, did not delve into moral grounds. Okay, the faqih stayed in the legal boundary. These are legal boundaries. A good husband should pay. If your wife is in prison for a wrong injustice, or she's in Hajj, which husband doesn't pay it anyway if it's a good? So again, going back to the Quranic principle, rahma and muadda, friendship and mercy. Okay, is that clear? So we have a dichotomy: fiqh, very rigid, dry, not emotional, and then you can negotiate between two of you on what the nafaka should be. Okay, and the husband may say, hey, look, you're going to Hajj, I'm not going to pay anything, you're not physically available for me. But it is rare. It will probably, that husband wants to divorce you anyway, right? He doesn't love you. He doesn't want you. So it's not going to happen. So yeah, and then this book, Farhat, your next read, unless you've read it already. Okay, so nafaka for women for work in the, okay, so is nafaka for women for a work in the house or for physical availability, tamkeen? Which one do you think, everybody? Aishapa?
I think it's interesting.
Yeah,
tamkeen.
Tamkeen, exactly. So yeah, now it's going to solve all of your problems in your life, right? So, which is that you don't need to work any of the housework, right? You can say,
yeah, we know that already, but that doesn't give us any leverage or do us any benefit.
I knew it's coming. I mean, it's very interesting. Kitab of Nikah, if it's a male teacher and
yeah, true. To know something is another thing. To negotiate it and get the two parties to agree upon it, it's different thing. Like we know many things, but we cannot put that into practice for certain reasons.
I also see that women working in the house when they're not there's no need for them in a fiqhi legal manner, right? This can also be a source of good deeds for her.
Yeah, that's we're coming to that, because she's not required to pay nafaka for the housework. She's required to pay nafaka and mahar for her availability. But Hanafi fiqh has separated. Maliki fiqh have separated the availability into two parts. Yeah, she's around the house. She's raising the kids. She's available. Okay, now you can say, look, husband, I'm gonna leave the kids with you for 4 hours or 3 hours every day. I'm going to go with my girls shopping. That's not what fiqh means here. It means that okay, fine, you're not doing cooking, cleaning, all the heavy works. You have a helping hand, but you need to give time to the children, right?
Yeah.
So that's also part of tamkeen in Maliki fiqh. But Hanafi fiqh is very rigid to the point of intimacy, saying if she gives you intimacy, by the way, but Hanafi fiqh doesn't explicitly say if she's a bad mother, she leaves the children with you all the time and goes. The husband will want to divorce her anyway. He has the right to divorce her. So
and in fiqh, isn't it also the case that a woman may get money for giving her breast milk to the child, right?
To be honest, I haven't come across it.
Yes, if she wills, she can.
Okay.
Yeah, her breast milk. I saw this because I was reading a feminist work and they were talking about how women should be paid for giving their milk because that's her property, that's from her body. And then I realized it's there in fiqh also.
Okay. Yes. I haven't come across this in the entire chapter of Nikah yet, but maybe I'll ask Sheikh. It could be a point. Yeah. I'll see the source where it's coming from. That's what I know. Okay, so what does Kisha Ali says, Marriage and Slavery. It's a great book from Harvard publication and Sheikh recommended. The maintenance obligation could be, okay, Farah, do you want to read? Bismillah. Tafadali.
Okay. The maintenance obligation could be triggered once the wife attained.
These are just some weird things that I copy pasted. It came up.
Okay. Sufficient maturity to consummate the marriage by an invitation to
consummate.
Okay. To consummate the marriage, the occurrence of valid privacy, khalwa, between the spouses, or consummation itself.
So what it means is that the maintenance is obligated as long as the women and men basically being intimate. Okay? Okay. Do you get it? Okay. Then?
The bride's readiness for physical intimacy was a prerequisite in the juristic imagination for the support obligation, meaning nafaqah?
Nafaqah, yeah.
This makes sense given that maintenance compensates the wife for her physical availability rather than for household chores or any other duties.
Okay, sorry, this has to be sexual availability because now you see there's difference in the house chores, right? So that's physical availability, but this is purely sexual availability. So now this has been separated. Okay. Everybody sees that? Yeah, this has been separated. Okay.
Yes.
An extended discussion in the Kitab al-Nafaqat distinguishes a wife's duties from those of a servant, khadim. A man is obligated to support his wife's servant, whether a female slave, mamluka, that she herself owns, one lent by her father, or a free servant engaged by the husband.
There you go, women, you got the answer. All of them folks.
Even if she does not have a servant, her husband cannot compel her to bake bread or cook for herself if she refuses to do so.
Subcontinent.
Atika, I shall bold this for you, right? So.
Yeah. No, you should need to bold this for subcontinent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't start a jihad after this class in the house. Just keep.
No, we already know this. The complaint is from the mullahs that they haven't delivered. They only delivered that the husband has right to they can marry four. They haven't said anything about these things. So that has created a divide in the society.
Inshallah, let's see more. As Al-Khaffa, Al-Khaf. Sorry, Al-Khaf. I think Al-Khassa, but the font didn't come. Don't worry, it's one of the books.
His claim on her is her making herself available to her husband, Tamkeen an-Nafs min al-Zawi.
Al-Zawj.
And not these tasks.
Yeah.
Al-Zawj.
So this is clear. Basically, this is clear. And then a servant who?
A servant who refused to perform these services could be denied maintenance and ejected from the house. But a wife's maintenance is obligated because of her availability, not because of her service.
Yeah, very good. So khidma and tamkin, two concepts again to summarize. This is the consensus of the jurists, but there is slight difference in the Hanafi and Maliki madhab. But general consensus of the jurists is that as long as the wife is physically available for intimacy, she's not required to do other things from the hadith, from the Quran, from the jurists. She's not required to do the other things. However, out of love, muwadda and rahma, women do it naturally anyway, right? But the men cannot demand more. That's the thing, okay? Like my ustads came in today, and obviously Washira is heavily pregnant. I was a little unfair, I felt that, but she happily accepted it. She cooked all that. She did it. And, you know, I said many things nice to her because it is not, she could reject it. She could reject it. It is in her right. Okay, she could reject it.
Yeah.
Understand? And if she rejected it, I would also take it happily because she's practicing the right Allah gave her. Okay. Anyway, so what are the sources of these? Kisha Ali took it from the famous of the great Imam al-Shafi'i. Is Imam Shafi'i. This is Shafi'i, okay? The first, so what is Kitab Open Kitab and read a couple of lines if you need to, just to get used to the massive book of Imam Shafi'i school, okay? Sunni branch of Islam. Is that clear? So this is Shafi'i, but it applies to all of us. And the second part is from Dr. Melchart, Christopher Melchart's Formation of Sunni School. Brilliant publication. These are really high standard. This is like top class research she's taken. Dr. Melcher is a professor in American University. Oh, I've got it here. Yeah. So nafaka. So is that clear? So tamkin and khidma, two different. Okay. Now, if husband goes away, does she get nafaka? Nafaka has to be paid to the wife if husband goes to prison or absent, because wife is available, but it's the husband's not fault, but his husband not available. So husband goes away for work or for attending his parents far away, the husband still should provide nafaka to the woman, just like many people work in different countries and then send money back home, right, to their family. I think this is straightforward. Now the tamkin is Shafi, Hanafi on tamkin. What is the distinction? Aisha can read, and then Atika we'll have some Arabic to read as well. Aisha can read a little bit.
The distinction is that Hanafi jurist will impose nafaka on husband as long as wife is physically present. In contrast, Shafi jurist will say that nafaka is only payable when wife provides intimacy. And the Hanafi, as long as she is in the house, even if she refuses intimacy, husband has to pay the nafaka.
Yeah. So the Hanafi here is actually a little relaxed. Shafi is quite hooked on the literal meaning of the definition of nikah.
Hanafis are always more relaxed, right?
But Hanafis were on the divorce, they are the most strict. In Hanafi, women cannot get a divorce. Simple.
And also going to the masjid.
I think so. I haven't. Yeah, I mean, we don't see them obviously in the masjid much. Yeah. So, so I summarize. This is actually not a well revised note, but no, the overwhelming emphasis is on the presence of the spouse, whether for intimacy or not. This is my summary. So the summary is SM for summary in short. So the emphasis that wife should be physically present. In one madhab it's for intimacy, the other madhab as long as she's in the house. Now, why did I felt that? And look at this: women available, the husband. Okay, so this line. And the things actually is not for women only, because for the woman to be available, the husband has to be available too. And what does it do? What does it do to the marriage? This is engaging in a marriage counseling passively, meaning because the life is so stressful nowadays, it's expensive, husband and wife works constantly outside. If even for intimacy, even just for intimacy, you are spending 1 hour together, that 1 hour is actually bringing you close mentally. Otherwise, the woman is busy with work or children. Husband is busy trying to do nafaka, pay nafaka to the family. So people hardly get time together. You know, they don't sit down in the dinner table and eat together nowadays. People have to go away for work. You know, husband and wife live separate sometimes because of risk that Allah ordained in a different country. So even if it's for nafaka, for intimacy, you come close together. And that is one of the major problems in modern marriages, that people are living like flatmates. They have no intimacy between them. And intimacy doesn't mean it has to be just a sexual intimacy. People don't have physical love and touch from the other person. That's why most people get overwhelmed with emotion. They're stressed because they're facing their dunya. Either the mom is busy with the children, dad is busy outside, or mom is also working and having the children. You need, Sheikh Abdul Hakim says, the human being are touchy-feely people. Human being needs touch, hugs, cuddles. And one of the lectures Sheikh Abdul Hakim said after the pandemic closed and then the shops opened, you know, the barber shops, they cut the hair. The old white English people who has nobody around them, when they went to the barber shops, the barbers, Dr. Abdul Hakim asked the barbers, they said they were so happy that somebody is touching them after 6 months. That's how human beings are created. It's innate that somebody will hug us, kiss us, love us, parents, husband, fathers, friends, mama, khala. This is innate. And I spoke to Sheikh Naja. When Sheikh Naja brought Sulaiman, her 1-year-old child, and my dad grabbed him and kissed him like all over the place. I said, and Sheikh Naja loved it. She said, "This is the way people should be. In the Western countries, people don't hug and kiss each other unless they're just couples. They don't hug and kiss somebody else's children, you know. But in the Muslim countries, in the traditional societies, we still have it. Like a child should be brought up with a lot of hugs and kisses and love from the children. And that's exactly the point. Look at fiqh. It is deeply addressing a problem of the human innate nature, that I need a hug from you. It's not that we have to have sex now. I need a hug from you. I need a cuddle from you. Let's watch a movie together. That's exactly the point. That's why Hanafi said that as long as she is available. And the Shafi says, because she's available, because you're hugging your spouse, it will generally end up in sex anyway, if you are a young couple. Do you see the deep relationship between human psyche and fiqh here? Yeah. You know, they are addressing how Allah made people. That's exactly the point. Is this clear? This is my own take, actually. If I'm to write an essay, this is what I'm going to write about. I'm not going to see this just a dry set of rules. I'm going to make it more of a counseling thing in future. Carry on, Aishapa, if you're there.
Yeah.
The
Hanafis look at tamkin perspective as availability to husband. That is cooking, children, Netflix, not Netflix, and physical intimacy, of course.
I added that.
In contrast, Shafi's stress on intimacy, the woman should be available anytime husband desires.
Okay, and then so I hope this is clear. Atika, any questions? Anything?
No.
Okay. And then we have sexual rights, intimacy rights. The primary right of wife is support and provision. So what does fiqh say? Again, the legal conceptualization of marriage presents sexual intimacy as a legal right to be primarily for the husbands. And the women's legal rights is provision and nafaka, normally. But then again, I said, this is fiqh. You can bring it to sort of a soft counseling and negotiate between you. Now, Atika, I read this from Darul Muhtar. Darul Muhtar by Ibn Abidin. It's about 200-year-old book. Okay. It's from the Ottoman. Okay, Kalam Shari.
كلام شارع وبدائي يشير إلى أن الحق في التمتع للرجل لا للمرأة كما ذكره السيد أبو السعود في حواشي مسكين رد المحتار.
Okay, so let me read back again. So Kalam Shari, meaning the jurist says, Wa Bada'i as-Sana'i. This is how fiqh books write. When you say Bada'i, meaning the book called Bada'i as-Sana'i by Imam Kasani. So jurist and the Imam Kasani in his book Bada'i as-Sana'i said, or he illustrates that the right for tamattu, yeah, the right for tamattu, meaning the right for physical intimacy is for men and not for women, like, and when it means not for women, meaning that they don't have the right, meaning that the man's main concern in the marriage is this. Kama Zakara, and Abu Saud in his Hawashi Miskin, he mentioned this reference. This is the source. So how you know this English summary is from the source Darul Muhtar. Okay, and Darul Muhtar is giving its own sources where it knows. Okay. So the definition of right only speaks for the men, and why did the jurist posit in such a way that sounds biased for male? But Sheikh provided separate handout where it supports women's right for intimacy equally. This is what Sadiq was asking the other day. There are Quranic verses talks about women's right. However, Hadith is far more focused on men's desire for intimacy and women receiving nafaka mahar. However, in speech of Hajj al-Wada, Rasulullah said exclusively talked about husband's right, but he added that women has right over husband in nafaka and physical intimacy too. Okay, and so coming to the, I have a whole Arabic passage that I want to read. Who is right for us? The jurist apparently. Okay. So does the wife have any intimacy right? Most jurists affirm that it is obligatory for husband to have relations with her. However, in discussing the specifics of this obligation, classical jurists disagree, meaning when the woman says, no, my husband is not intimate enough, I need intimacy, they disagree in, because fiqh is trying to keep you together. Fiqh is trying to prevent the women from falling into extramarital affairs, zina, and same for the men. So both have equal rights. Why is men's desire mentioned more in the hadith? Is because we know by nature, by the way Allah created, men's desire more uncontrollable, intense. The women can control it better, but still women has equal rights. Okay, the hadith is basically just whatever is innate in human psyche. That's what it's doing, which is men's desire is more of a focus here. But again, that does not negate women's rights on it. So that's why the Fuqaha says, okay, every so often you should provide for women. Once in every 4 nights, once every month, once every 4 months, once in a lifetime. This is problematic, as Sheikh said, according to what is deemed as maruf. This is the most important thing. This is what every man should provide to the wife. Meaning, however the wife is in need, the man should do his best to provide. And these are all disagreed. Some Fuqaha said once in a lifetime, that marriage is not going to last anyway. 4 months, that's not, and they all brought their evidences, but this is what from the Quran, al-Maruf. Okay. The above is from the jurist to accommodate everyone's due to ability and age. Yeah, somebody, your husband is very old, he cannot probably do Maruf all the time. So the jurist says at least once in 4 months, once every month, at least the marriage sustains. Okay. But then Shafi's view on women's right. Okay, so who wants to read this paragraph? Aishapa wants to read?
Yeah, okay. فإذا وطأها مرة سقط لها مطالبة بالفرقة لقول الله للفرق بالفرقة لقول الله تعالى ولهن مثل الذي عليهن بالمعروف ودليلها قول الله تعالى وللرجال عليهن درجة فمن درجة الرجل على المرأة أن يلزمها إجابته إذا دعاها إلى الفراش ولا يلزمه إجابتها ولأنه لما كان رفع العقد بالطلاق إليه دونها كان الوطأ فيه حقا له دونها ولأنه لما كان الوطأ في الملك اليمين حقا للمالك دون المملوك كان الوطء في النكاح حقا للناكح دون المنكوحة والله أعلم. الماوردي الحاوي الكبير.
So Imam al-Mawardi, I have some information on Imam al-Mawardi. Imam al-Mawardi is a Shafi jurist again from his book Al-Hawi al-Kabir. So the key terms to remember: wata'a means jima' with a long alif. Wata'a meaning physical intimacy. So the Imam is bringing that the right for look, ida wata'a marra, even when husband has spouse have consummated the marriage, meaning just once you have physical intimacy, saqata laha mutalaba bil furqa. Her right, even in Shafi madhab, her right to divorce is negated. She doesn't have the right to ask for divorce because husband had been intimate once 5 years back. Same in Hanafi fiqh. Only Maliki has some leeway. Husband had been intimate 5 years ago and that's it. Then she doesn't have the right for asking for divorce. Same in Hanafi and Shafi. Okay, but then what does Quran say?
Can you repeat that again, please?
So if the husband has been intimate with the wife once in 5 years back or 2 years back, okay, and the wife needs intimacy. So we're talking about wife's right. Okay, how does women? Wife's right for divorce. Sorry, wife's right for divorce based on intimacy. I should clarify the title of the topic here. So if the husband doesn't give her any more intimacy apart from just first time, he paid his mahar and he consummated the marriage, and then he just doesn't become intimate for whatever reason, then the wife cannot ask for a divorce. The wife can complain to the qadi. Wife can go to the judge, and the judge will order him to be intimate. Judge will give him 1 year, 2 year, 3 year to make sure, or he may be impotent, he has illness or something else, but the wife cannot divorce him on that ground. Whereas the husband can. Okay, the husband can divorce her for intimacy issues. But that's fiqh. There is counseling, obviously, for both sides, and we'll see that Imam al-Taymiyyah he negates all of it. But then Quran says what? Walihunna mithlu alladhi alayhinna bil ma'ruf. Walahunna mithlu, that they are the ones who should be upon them is ma'ruf, meaning wife should be provided how she wants. This is Quran stipulated. So people can ignore the fiqh. People can ignore the fiqh. No, I don't accept that fiqh because Quran says this, right? Now, how is the divorce going to happen? Divorce needs a Sharia council. In the non-Muslim countries, it's very difficult. And probably in the Muslim countries, it is possible. So the woman has the right to go for divorce.
I think it's equally difficult.
Yeah, so the woman has the right. Understand this. The woman has the right based on these maruf, that I'm not getting my maruf. Yes, he's intimate. He's intimate once in a lifetime. He's intimate once in 4 months, once every month, or once four nights, or every so often. But the woman says, I need this. For the woman, once in a month is the maruf. For the woman, every 4 nights is the maruf. For every so on is the maruf. So whatever the maruf, that's how. And it's clearly said, stipulated in the Quran, alay la hunna. You know, hunna is women. Mithlu alladhi alayhinna. It's a woman. Bi maruf.
Yeah, basically, with bil maruf is open-ended.
Open-ended. Bil maruf is exactly the counseling. That look, I need more, or and the husband says, yeah, I can give more for so and so situation or so and so's days. So you are allowed to ask for your haqq from the Quran. You are allowed to ask for intimacy as you need, and that's clear in the Quran. Okay, so you can, as Sheikh said, you can ignore the fiqh because the Quran proceeds, but the fiqh is there mainly for men, is because men dies in the war, men goes away for work, men is not available, he's working all day. That's why the fiqh is hooked onto the women, says, woman, make sure you are available when he comes home. Okay, because men is usually not there for livelihood purpose. But then the Quran says the rijal alayhinna daraja. The man is having a hierarchy. It's not man is better. Understand this. The translations are very difficult, right, Farad? It's men is having a hierarchy than women. Okay, meaning that the men look after women. Men will provide women in a good way. Okay, that's why the men have the right to divorce for intimacy. Women don't. But then again, in the modern, these are classical fiqh. In the modern fiqh, women has the right, and we will see. So this is the classical view, and later on, non-Muslim courts on divorce, Anglo-Mohammedan period. Okay, so what did Anglo-Mohammedan period? When the British were there, the British India attempted to apply Hanafi fiqh in civil court, but since the courts did not usually have Muslim judges adjudicating these cases, observant Muslim women were forced to seek out loopholes in order to escape their falling in abusive marriages. And what is the loopholes?
Leaving Islam.
Leaving Islam. So that.
Yeah, also, I've read this.
Yeah, exactly. A group of Muslims serving, assuming the role of judge lands the no-Muslim, granting the wife divorce or annulment in case such that if her husband is miserly, and granting the wife divorce or annulment in cases such as if. So this has happened. So this has happened in the Muslim Sharia council, that the husband is miserly, doesn't pay her nafaka, the woman was given divorce. So woman has the right, but remember, hadith doesn't explicitly say too much about women's right, because the man is in the man is in the one who's who needs more care of that sort of side in a way, because men otherwise falls into zina easily, but women don't. Women are more chaste, women are more loyal to their marriages. Is that clear, sisters?
Yeah.
Don't take fiqh in a wrong way that fiqh doesn't. These rules are coming from very pious imams, so they're not biased on the morality of jurists. That's what Sheikh. This is Sheikh. He said the jurist to construct the law works from texts and principles, meaning hadith and Quran. Thus, the law is not devoid of moral component. The law doesn't say, oh, okay, Atikaba. The law doesn't say, oh, only the women's right. Why is the men right? No, that's not the purpose. That's not what they meant. Morality lies under the surface. Exactly. And I've discussed how this fiqh is actually a marriage counseling, that even if for intimacy your husband is home, it gives you also the satisfaction of being married and having a fulfilled life. That's why it says it doesn't explicitly express, it does within the obligations. Okay. And what does the jurist try to create? Create norms, a standard, securing values of marriage, providing standard to evaluate human conduct, standardizing expectation. Okay. So this is a minimalist concept of nikah, which is the Hanafi fiqh. It resolves around the licitness and the right of sex. The idea of mahar and nafaka is necessary consequence connected to the idea of izza and khatar. So the nafaka and mahar, one of the purpose of nafaka and mahar has actually got deep metaphysical meaning. You may say, is man using the wife like as if he has gone to a prostitute and I'm paying and now give me physical intimacy? No, it's the womb of the woman. The womb of the woman is valuable. That's where we all come, men and women. So when the man is intimate with the wife, this is very important. This is very like pure spiritual matter. So the man pays the respect in a tangible manner. Man cannot say, oh, I make dua for you, that's my mahar. Right? The man actually, right. Do you get the point? That I am a big Sufi, I'm a big scholar, I will make dua for you. Yeah, and that's my mahar. No, that's not going to work, because you have to put a physical, tangible value, the womb of the woman, because you are going to set the lineage in there. Do you see how beautiful, how deep this thing goes? It's not about just paying the mahar for, I'm the big shot, I have big business, I'm just buying the most beautiful wife. No, you are respecting the womb and you're taking care of the lineage of the child that will come out of the womb. That's exactly what the spiritual meaning, Sheikh, and I see that as well. So nikah is, so is that clear? So the mahar has a deep metaphysical purpose, a spiritual purpose, not just for buying out the physical intimacy. Okay, so this is again summarizing. Nikah is in view to men, place a primary emphasis on sexual rights, but this does not mean a wife should not do domestic chores. But it is not legally entitled. The women can refuse to do it, but is she going to be happy if the husband is unhappy and the children are not clothed or fed or bathed? No. So it's not legally entitled by the marriage contract. The contract is not negated due to it. Okay, so you can still marry a woman who's very, very lazy, doesn't look after anything, but gives you intimacy. You can still stay with the woman legally. Nikah, on viewpoint of women, places primary emphasis for her provision. But this does not mean a husband should not fulfill his wife's desires. It is not legally entitled by the marriage contract except one. Beyond that, the contract is not. Meaning that for one time, just for one time in any madhab, if the man has consummated the marriage, the women don't have immediate right for divorce, but divorce have been allowed in other grounds, in many occasions of counseling. And then the Qadi gave him time, and after that.
So as long as it is not consummated, either party can leave the marriage easily?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's the point. I wanted to read Arabic, but if you guys are interested, if you like the intro, because I have the class now, the next class, so we'll finish it here. If you guys are interested, then we'll read more Arabic in summer on this topic, maybe. And get a better wholesome idea. But was it useful today?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me stop there.
Yes.